What is up, you guys? Welcome back to Midlife Vibe's daily vlog. Appreciate you guys showing up every day here for this daily vlog. Today, I thought I'd talk about just some news on when we think the different Disneyland parks are going to open up. And I think it's definitely going to be different in the United States than it's going to be around the world, but it's even going to be different here in the United States from Walt Disney World to Disneyland, because I believe Disney World or Florida has less restrictions versus California over here where Disneyland's at. So let's just get right into this, and let's just start off with Disneyland. So here in California, Governor Newsom has a 4-phase plan to opening up the state. Now, I'm really going to go into where I think the theme park goes into this, but let's just talk about the phases really quick. Pretty much we're in phase 1 where we're trying to increase testing and so on, and everyone's staying at home. Nothing's really open except for essential workplaces. When we get into the step number 2, in this step, they're going to be opening up some lower risk workplaces, like they're talking about opening up retail with curbside pickup. So if it's a non-essential retail business, you can probably order online and pick it up at the curb, or maybe you can call the store and have them place an order, and then they deliver it to your car outside in the parking lot. It also talks about the school year maybe opening up in July and August instead of later in September. So just opening up the next year's school year a little bit earlier. The next phase is phase 3, which is going to be opening up a little bit of more of a higher risk businesses, but limiting the quantities of people. So we're talking about limiting the size of gatherings. For example, hair and nail salons, gyms, movie theaters, sports without live audiences, and religious services. So far, we've gone to the 3rd phase, and we haven't even hit anywhere about theme parks yet as far as in California. So, and we're looking at 3 phases. That's quite a ways away, I think. So I think we have a lot of time before we see Disneyland open up, and different amusement parks just in general. And then when we get to phase 4, it's basically the end of the stay-at-home order, reopening high-risk experiences and venues, including concerts, convention centers, sports with live audiences. And they're talking about only doing that in California once therapeutics have been developed. So not necessarily a vaccine, but once there is a medicine or something to help fight the COVID-19 virus has been developed, will they be able to open these things up in California? Now that sounds really strict, and it sounds really tough to be able to open up Disneyland, which is a large gathering place. So I really don't see Disneyland in California. And remember, you guys, this is just my opinion. I can't see Disneyland opening up anytime before September, October, and I'd hate to say it, even into the next year. It really depends on how these steps progress. As they do open up a next level or a next phase, they're going to have to see how it works out. It's not like they can open up phase 2 and then a week later do phase 3 and then a week later do phase 4. That's just not going to work. They're going to have it go on for at least a month, I would assume, to see what happens. Is there a change? Are there spikes? Are there rises in the levels of COVID-19? What is going on? Basically it's going to have to gauge it. And I think that's also why they haven't put dates to these plans, because they don't have dates. Now in Florida for Walt Disney World, it's a totally different scenario. They are way looser on their phases. They have a 3-phase plan, and phase 1 is happening today. And it is actually, you are going to allow to have large spectator sporting events, should use strict social distancing guidelines and limit occupancy of the venues to 25% of the building capacity. Personal services theme parks should remain closed. So with phase 1, which is happening, it's either today or tomorrow, theme parks to remain closed. Now, sporting events, which I don't think NBA and NFL and all these other things are going to be opening up to large venues right now, even though it says they can have 25% capacity. I don't think they're ready for that yet. But this does mean, restaurants, retail, things like that are going to open up. And they're already in that phase starting today or tomorrow. And then phase 2, which here's another thing that they do. They don't give you a timeline. So I think phase 1, you have to have a minimum of a month trial to see how it works and to see what the fallout is from it, or if there is one at all. But phase 2 says theme parks may consider reopening with capacity limits, strict social distancing, and proper measures to clean and disinfect. Large spectator sporting events should limit occupancy of venues to 50% of building capacity and use strict social distancing. So this is totally different from California, where Walt Disney World can open up in phase 2. Now they are limiting capacity to 50% in phase 2. So there's a lot of questions to, can Walt Disney World be profitable at 50%? Or should I say, can Walt Disney World lose less money by opening it up and still having less people there? Because remember, they're losing money daily, right? But they're losing money without having people, a lot of employees in the park, a lot of electricity, as much electricity use, all that stuff, water use, all that stuff. So once they open up the park, the expenses go up. Now they are going to get some ticket revenue to help cover that, but is it enough at a limited capacity? I don't know, because I don't work for Disney or know their numbers. But if Disneyland consistently ran at 50% or less, is it economical for them to open up the parks? That's a question that probably only they can answer. But I would think 50%, they could probably do it with limited attractions, no shows because of gathering points and stuff like that. But I think you would have a limited experience, not the full Disney experience if they did that. But it's interesting to see. Now, phase 3 is theme parks may return to normal operation with limited social distancing protocols. Now, remember, guys, this is for Walt Disney World. This is for Florida. This is not just for Walt Disney World. It's for any theme park in Florida. Now, phase 3, I don't see happening for quite a while. I think they really have to look at phase 2 and see how that works. And that's going to be a few months minimum to see how the people react, how the companies react, how they're doing in these phases. Really looking at the cases. Is there going to be a widespread of more cases? What's going on? I mean, there's just a lot of variables in these phases that they have to look at. So phase 3, now this means that Disney World could be open. It could be open in June, July, August, but depending on when it opens up, let's say it opens up in June, right? Which is only a month away, which I don't see that happening, but it could. Walt Disney World could. So if they open up in June and they go at limited capacity for, let's say, 2 months, so now you're going through June, July, so that means in maybe August or September, they're able to up their capacity and get back to a little bit more of the norm. And it even talks about limiting, very limited social distancing protocols, which means there's still going to be social distancing, but it'll be less restrictive. Like the first one with the social distancing protocols, maybe they require everybody to wear masks. The 6-foot rules are in place. So when they limit the social distancing protocols, what does that mean? They get rid of the mask and you still do 6 foot, or do you wear masks and don't do the 6 foot? I don't know what the answer is there. And they didn't really explain it on their website exactly what it will be. And I think they're vague on purpose because I think they don't have all the answers right now either. So they don't want to say this is what it's going to be and then have to change their mind or have to change the rules and just confuse people, anger people. So I think they're just being kind of vague and saying, here's an outline of what it's going to kind of look like. We'll give you the details as we go. It is weird to see how from state to state, the different protocols are. Like Disney World could be running at 50% capacity and Disneyland completely closed. So it is interesting to see that. Now, another thing that might affect this is Disney World is really a huge tourist destination. Now with restrictive flights, people not flying into the town, how can they get Disney World up to 50% capacity with just locals and just people from around the area? Maybe there'll be people that will want to drive and take a vacation over to Disney World. So do you think that Disney World will still have enough people going, even if since they open it up? Do you think they'll have enough people going to actually still be profitable and still run those parks? This is really interesting to see how this is going to play out. Now, I'm sure Disneyland is going to be looking at Walt Disney World to see how things go over there. Are they successful enough to continue to run at the capacities they're running at? And will Disneyland take the cues from Walt Disney World and do those same type of protocols over here on the West Coast as they're doing over there on the East Coast? I would assume so. I would assume that in this case, it's probably not you probably don't want to be the first to open up because you are the test subject when it comes to this. So if Walt Disney World is going to open up before Disneyland, they are the test subject. They are the ones who are going to have to work out all the kinks. And then what will happen is Disneyland will be able to look at that and go, this is where this didn't work out and this worked out and that didn't work out. And they'll be able to tweak their protocols to basically make it more efficient and better. So I think Disneyland has the edge here, even though they're probably not going to open up as soon as Walt Disney World, but they do have an edge to learn from Walt Disney World's successes and their mistakes. So very quickly, let's just take a look at the Disney parks around the world. I have a little thing here that kind of just talks about it. Tokyo Disney Resort, post-May 2020. The latest from the Japanese Prime Minister was that the nationwide shutdown would last until at least May 6th. After a resurgence in cases in mid-April. An update from Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Sea on Friday said it will decide a reopening date in mid-May. So it looks like they're going to decide a reopening date in mid-May. Will it be in mid-May? Who knows? But I think, it could be even June when they open up. It's kind of tricky what they say there. So are they deciding in mid-May they're going to reevaluate the situation and kind of decide on when they're going to open up? So we know for sure they're not opening up before mid-May. Shanghai Disneyland, still slowly reopening. Shanghai began opening restaurants and stores on March 9th in Disney Town. All guests at those destinations must undergo temperature screenings, present a green Shanghai QR health code at dining venues, consistently wear a mask, and maintain respectful social distancing at all times while in stores, queues, and restaurants. Shanghai Disney looks to be ready to keep people socially distanced when it does reopen. Wow, they have little health cards and stuff. That's something I don't think we could do here, but they have health cards. They're taking their temperature. That's something that was talked about maybe happening over here, but we'll see. Hong Kong Disney, unknown. At this time, Hong Kong Disney is unknown. Hong Kong guidance for coronavirus doesn't mention theme parks, but its guidance for mass assemblies include hand sanitizer in all public areas, providing surgical masks to those attending, cleaning and disinfecting common items and floors, and providing PPE to anyone who's designated to take care of sick visitors. Hong Kong has limited public gatherings to 4 people and advised social distancing of 5 feet. And so there's really no information right now from Hong Kong Disney on what's going to happen there and when they might open up. That's, wow. Who knows when they're going to open up over there. But that's just a couple of the parks out there. Oh, and I skipped Disneyland Paris. So in France right now, it shows stores and schools reopen as of May 11th, beaches on June 1st, restaurants and cafes June 2nd. Public events with more than 5,000 people are against the law until September. So for sure, they're not opening up until September. So that's probably the longest date we have confirmed right now that Disneyland Paris will not open up till September. So, that's a long time, but that could be around when Disneyland California opens up. We just don't know at this time. Well, that's all the information I have for you right now on when Disneyland parks are opening up. I'll keep giving you these updates as I get more information, but I'm curious to see what your thoughts are. What do you think about? I'm really interested about more the United States parks. I think the California and Florida parks, to see what do you think the timeline is for them opening up based off of the state's guidelines that they have provided. I definitely think Walt Disney World is going to open up a lot sooner than Disneyland. And I'm curious to see what protocols they have in place. How are they going to manage traffic or crowd control? They're basically not going to have fireworks or any shows because that's where crowds gather. But how are they going to manage the queuing and the cleaning and sanitizing of ride vehicles and walkways and handrails? It's going to be interesting to see how logistically they do that. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, share it with all your friends, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you next time.